Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the July, I believe, board meeting of the State Transportation Board. At this time, I want to ask Mr. Jeff Lewis to do our invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we call this time, Lord, to honor you and lift you up and offer you our thanks that we can come together as leaders of this state and do a service for your people. Father, I just pray that you be over all of us on this meeting, be with all of us, those who are attending, and be mindful of our people throughout the state that are working hard for us and serve the people of Georgia. And Father, we just want to lift up a special prayer for the bridge accident on I-16. We're just thankful that there's no serious injuries reported from that accident, and that is restored as soon as possible, and that the inconvenience will subside. Father, be with us now. Bless us in Christ's name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'm not Chairman Bowen. He is not able to be here today, and he asked me to step in, which was fine. But I would like to welcome everyone here. We're getting a bigger crowd, I think, by the month. At this time, Kristen, would you do a roll call, because we do have some members coming dialing in.
Yes. Congressional District 1, Ms. Purcell.
Present.
2, Mr. Floyd.
Present.
3, Mr. Carricker. 4, Mr. Brown. 5, Ms. Key.
Present.
6, Mr. Abel. 7, Mr. Bowen. 8, Mr. Golden. 9, Ms. Dunn.
Here.
10, Mr. Boswell. 11, Mr. Lewis. 12, Mr. Morris. 13, Ms. Lemon. And 14, Mr. Sharon.
Here.
Okay, thank you all for being here today. At this time, we need to approve our minutes from the June board meeting. I know that everyone got a copy. Do we have a motion to approve them as presented? Second? All in favor? Okay, now I'm going to ask Mr. Albert Shelby to come forward. He's our Director of Program Delivery, and he has a report on projects for the August letting now.
Well, good morning, Commissioner, members of the board. So I'm here to present the projects the department's proposing to advertise for the August 2021 letting. Before we present August, here are the final FY 2021 results. We have let a total of 416 projects in 2021. This chart shows the number of projects by improvement type. The value of these 416 projects is approximately $1.839 billion through the June 2021 bid awards, with 385 GDOT-let projects worth approximately $1.77 billion and 31 local let projects worth $69.4 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type, with maintenance, bridge, and road projects making up the bulk of these types. Here are the results of the June 2021 letting. Of the 63 GDOT-let contracts presented to the board, 57 were awarded, 3 were withdrawn, 1 had no bids, and 2 were rejected from the letting. Now I'm going to discuss the projects in the August 2021 letting. We have a total of 22 projects, and all are GDOT-let. The next 2 slides list these 22 projects arranged by congressional district. So as you can see with this slide, we are letting a variety of projects throughout the state to address bridge capacity, maintenance, and safety issues. The first project I'm going to highlight will install closed-circuit television and dynamic messaging boards to support the Traffic Operations Navigator ATMS platform and the CHAMP Incident Management platform. The devices will be installed at 14 separate locations along I-95 through the Georgia state borders with South Carolina and Florida. CCTVs will provide enhanced visual coverage of I-95, and dynamic messaging boards will relay traffic updates to motorists. These devices will also assist with the hurricane evacuations and contraflow operations on I-95 during emergencies. This next project will widen State Route 25 from Yacht Road to Harry Diggers Boulevard. State Route 25, which is also US 17, is a major north-south route for Glenn County, connecting the city of Brunswick to major thoroughfares that include the Torres Causeway into St. Simon's Island, Jekyll Island, State Route 25 Spur, and State Route 99. State Route 25 is also a designated hurricane evacuation route for Glenn County. This project is one of 3 phases to widen State Route 25. This project will resurface State Route 27 from East Railroad Street in Wayne County to the Glenn County line for 28.1 miles. This section was last repaved in 2003, 18 years ago. This project will replace the structurally deficient bridge on Cogdale Highway over Stump Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1953, 68 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. This project is the replacement of the structurally deficient bridge on Cogdale Highway over Little Red Bluff Creek. The existing bridge was constructed in 1954, 67 years ago. And here's a picture of that bridge to be replaced. The final highlighted project is one of 6 contiguous widening projects along State Route 20 from I-575 in Canton to North Corners Parkway in Cumming. This project will reduce traffic congestion, address high crash rates, and improve east-west mobility and connectivity between Canton and Cumming for the growing counties of Cherokee and Forsyth counties. So in final, we have 22 projects that we are proposing for the August 2022 letting, 2021 letting. The dollar amount for these 22 projects is $190.7 million. Now I ask for your approval for, yes, sir. So let's see what the 2 were. So 1 was not bid on. We only had 1 that didn't have a bidder. That project.
I mean, what I was asking, what the reason wouldn't be a bidder?
To not get bidders at all?
Yeah.
It's the industry. It may just have been a small enough project where they just didn't feel like they wanted to go after it.
Yeah.
So we're going to rebid it. We'll see if we get bidders in the future.
So when you have that kind of situation, what do you do next?
We rebid it.
At a larger project?
No. Usually we'll just try to rebid it in the next couple of months and just see if maybe contractors didn't want to go out there at that time. Maybe they didn't have capacity at that particular time, but we'll rebid it and go from there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Brown, and to your point, what we do look for is can we twin it with another project
Okay.
to improve that appetite?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. We really want to figure out how to get that best price.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an interest level there that we can improve, that's what we're going to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Albert. So do I have a motion to approve the August 20? Okay, do we have a second? Any questions or comments? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much, Mr. Shelby.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Mr. Matt Markham, the Deputy Director of Planning, to come present the revisions to the construction work program.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioner, members of the board. Here to you this morning to provide you a heads up of a recommendation to approve changes to the construction work program at the August meeting. So we're not asking for any action today. I'm just giving you a heads up on a couple of recommendations that I'll come back to you at next month's board meeting. So for this, we're asking for 3 additions to the construction work program. It's actually 3 segments of one longer project. It's a 17-mile stretch along the west wall of I-285. that is a maintenance project. It's a full-depth pavement reconstruction and guardrail replacement. It covers 3 congressional districts. It's essentially from State Route 17, Roosevelt Highway on the south, up to Paces Ferry Road on the north side. So 3 segments of this maintenance project that was divided into segments based on coordination with the Office of Maintenance. So I'm happy to answer any questions at this time, or I'll come back to you next month for your recommended action.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you so much for your report. At this time, I'll ask our Commissioner for his report, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, for chairing, and ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's good to be in front of you today. It's been a long day already, as Mr. Lewis acknowledged in his prayer. Overnight, or actually early morning, tractor trailer struck a bridge in Fruitland County on I-16, causing the bridge to shift off of its supports into a precarious situation, and actually is dislodged from what holds it up, and the opposite side, which is not shown in the picture, is hanging off and lower than what a vehicle or truck could pass under. So this is not a safe condition as it is now. We have mobilized this morning almost immediately, which I think was around 1, had some conference calls around 3 a.m. We have contractors now mobilizing to basically come in and remove this bridge via demolition, which is the fastest way. Both eastbound and westbound of I-16 has to be closed until this is in a safe condition. We have detours in place. The eastbound detour exits off east of this location, which is State Route 87, and it will take the detour through Soperton, Georgia, make a turn in Soperton, and then re-enter I-16 further east of this location. The westbound traffic will exit in advance of this location and go through the Soperton. Let me back up. The Soperton detour is about 12 miles. The westbound, if you're leaving Savannah going to Macon detour, is off of I-16 through Adrian, Georgia. About a 24-mile detour, so a very lengthy detour. Our goal is to obviously have this bridge removed such that I-16 traffic can be restored as quickly as possible. This bridge itself is just an overpass. There's no interchange here, sort of hard to depict from the picture, so not an easy way to run traffic up and down a ramp and around, so we're having to put in lengthy detours. So that is where we stand. We'll keep you apprised. We do not have an estimated time of opening I-16. Our focus would be to try to get westbound traffic flowing first due to the freight that comes out of Savannah, and then eastbound to soon follow after. But as the demo crews mobilize today, we expect them to start in earnest maybe today and maybe tomorrow by the time you get the specialty equipment and everything you need to get to this location and start removing the bridge. So we'll keep you posted, but our crews, just hats off to the District 2 team for working to get detours in place. We have the message signs. We've been in coordination with the State Patrol. I've texted with the Colonel already this morning. Also briefed the Governor as well this morning of the impact of this. This is sort of between, to give you some bearings of Fruitland County, this is between Metter and Dublin. So it's sort of in that area between Metter and Dublin. Mr. Brown knows exactly where it is.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So anyway, we'll keep you posted. As you can see, there was a tractor trailer hauling tires, and the bed was raised for some reason. Striking the bridge, it ripped the bed off the trailer. The trailer's still on that side of the road. My understanding, and this is early information, so I'll just tell you, my understanding is that the driver and the passengers in the tractor trailer were okay, not injured. but I believe the tractor ended up on the opposite side of the interstate into the opposite direction, through the cable rail. Was my early indication, but please, don't fact check me on that yet because things are still emerging, but that's just a little bit. No other people or vehicles injured in the accident. Again, I think this was, from the earliest page I got was around 1 a.m. So just to give you an update. All right, let's move forward to our normal. Yes, Mr. Brown.
I have a question.
Mr. Brown?
As far as responsibility for this, it's obviously with the truck driver, but how is that handled? Is it,
So there will be a claim through insurance.
The insurance company?
Right. And that's, we actually will track those and try to, make a claim against the insurance and try to ultimately recover the damages. And sometimes in bridges, the liabilities and the insurability coverage maybe not is what it costs to rebuild a bridge sometimes. But we'll try to go after and recover those damages.
Okay, thanks.
All righty. So let me move into a normal update, starting with our state fund collections for June of 2021. And I remind you that June is the end of our state fiscal year, so this is always a good sort of comparative month. Collections totaled $72.94 million for the month. The breakdown on that is excise being $57.11 million, and transportation fees consisted of $15.83 million. That brings fiscal year to date total to $1.939 billion. And the breakdown of that is $1.781 billion in excise, $157.46 million in transportation fees. So as I compare the closeout of June of this year to June of 2020, that puts us at $101.7 million less than 2020. And if you look at comparing back to 2019, as I told you, 2020 had obviously in COVID impacts of less travel. So now that we're in this time frame, if we rewind to a year ago, you remember travel was way down because of COVID. So we were using 2019 as more of a baseline. That results in about a $94.6 million less this year than compared to 2019 year. Now, let me give you the reminder of why that number is down. As you recall, from May 10th through June 2nd was the Colonial Pipeline issue where the governor suspended the excise tax due to the supply and demand issues associated with the Colonial Pipeline hack. So we knew there would be an impact to see, and so we're now seeing that reflected in June. We'll have to see, because of the lag in collections and reporting, there possibly could be that lag into July's report as well. So we'll see next month, what that looks like. So as a little bit of a comparator, though, I go back to the budget and remind you that the FY22 budget that we're in today, that started on July 1st, was already approved. And so we have an approved budget, and that budget is good. So we'll be working forward on that. This impact, we will certainly, Angela Whitworth's already talked to the Office of Planning and Budget about this Colonial Pipeline impact to revenue, and we're beginning those discussions, but we're fine. Everything will continue to work on our approved budget as is, and if anything is to change, it would happen in the amended budget year, which would be during the legislative cycle in January, starting next January. So we'll keep you in tune and obviously be vigilant in what revenue looks like and what we can do. If you compare it to the sort of the unaudited numbers, again, these are unaudited, so where we're ending up, there's also interest and fees and other things that get added in once the Department of Revenue does their audits, which will be over the next couple of months. So these are certainly unaudited numbers. So I just wanted to give you that little where we are. Obviously, an impact we knew would come, but also to reaffirm that our budget is already set. Those dollars are appropriated. we'll move forward with that and keep focused on what impact, if any, there may be because of this. Any questions? That's super complicated, especially trying to get comparison back to pre-COVID time to now. Angela will be presenting budget information, I believe, next month anyway, as we start the budget cycle for FY22 amended and FY23, believe it or not. So just as soon as you get in the budget year, you start the budget process all over again. So we'll be moving forward with that. All right, so let me update you on our employment data. Our total staff headcount is 3,542. We do have, which is a great news, we do have 73 temporary maintenance staff, which our goal is to convert them to permanent staff very quickly. And so we get them in the door, get them some training and experience, and promote them very quickly, which leads to my next number of promotions, 169 promotions last month. Again, trying to get people in the door, get them promoted. And we had 49 employees separate service for one reason or another. Procurement is my next update. And again, similar to the budget, June report, we had 114 professional services contracts executed, totaling $37.9 million for engineering, right-of-way, geotechnical, all the work it takes to get to projects to be bid. And that brings our fiscal year to date total for the year to 1,777 contracts executed, valued at $628.7 million. This is the 7th year in a row that we've exceeded the previous year. So again, this is that level of effort of the work it takes to get projects before you to be bid and constructed so the public can use them. So congratulations to all involved, especially our procurement staff, to reach this record high. They do a great job in advancing contracts, but it takes subject matter experts to develop the contract content, to negotiate with our partners, and to ultimately sign and to execute contracts. And I'll tell you that Angela and her team have a duty to review every contract, as well as our legal department to review every contract. And in the financial world, they have to approve it twice. They look at to make sure the money's there, the budget's in alignment, and so they give the go-ahead that gets executed. When I execute it, they have to execute it again. So 1,777 times 2 is at least how many times Angela or her team touches one of these contracts. So a lot of work. So congratulations to everybody. Now let me move into some projects that opened to traffic since we were together last. And this first one is a major interstate reconstruction project, similar to what Matt Markham just shared with you of how we need to basically replace the pavement on 285. This is actually in District 3, Carroll County, which is GDOT District 6. And this is replace the existing travel lanes on I-20, utilizing basically full depth replacement of that concrete paving out there. In addition, the shoulders were replaced and the guardrails were updated for this corridor. This project's been under construction for a very long time. It is very hard to rebuild an interstate and keep the interstate functioning, but this was a total rebuild of that original interstate pavement. The contractor was Archer Weston Contractors, and it opened up the first part of June. It represents a $98.2 million investment. And again, this is all state of good repair, not adding lanes or anything else, just simply replacing a worn out concrete pavement that was there since the interstate was built itself. So it's enjoyed its life cycle, and now we'll have another nice long life cycle, and I hope that none of us have to be here when that's replaced. It should last another 30, 40 years. So, all right, here's a couple of pictures of concrete, and again, very durable product. Moving into Congressional District 9 up in Franklin County, which is GDOT District 1, is basically a bridge replacement of Crumps Road over the North Fork Broad River. The original bridge was deficient and required load restrictions, or posting as we call it. That's where a truck or of legal weights can't drive over it because the bridge is not sufficient to hold up that weight. This bridge, the original bridge, was built in 1963. The contractor that replaced this bridge was Talley Construction Company. It opened to traffic at the end of June, and it represents a $2 million in capital investment for a bridge replacement. So you can see a good-looking bridge there that will serve Franklin County, again, a county road for a very long time. And that's, again, our focus not only on state routes and interstates, but to help our cities and counties with their deficient bridges across the state. The next project also happens to be in Congressional District 9. Maybe it's because you're chairing today, Emily. We have a project up in Towns County, State Route 66, which is replacing the bridge that was built in 1940. Tim Golden leaned over and said that was when he was born on one of the previous slides, but this is not you, Tim. This is 1940. Again, Tally Construction Company was the contractor that did this project and opened June 25th. And it's a little more than a bridge. When you get into some of these mountainous and rolling terrain, you have to do some adjustments of roadway as well, such that you can replace a bridge and try to keep traffic flowing. And so beautiful vista, as you can see on the picture of the left, and on the right, you can see that sort of where the project is, and there's the actual bridge itself. You can see we built somewhat parallel to this project, to this existing road. It represents an $8.2 million investment in the capital construction to replace this bridge. But again, a good, long-lasting bridge that we won't be here when we talk about replacing it again. So this project was opened to traffic ahead of schedule. Now let me move into some highlights of things that have happened since our last meeting that you'll find, I think, of interest and importance. And we'll start with our own Stacy Key from the Mighty Fifth, as is affectionately known, and she's ingrained in us. Stacy's been busy this last month, not only in her job, but as a board member, and participated here in a virtual roundtable discussion back on June 23rd with Congresswoman Williams, featuring none other than Chairman of the U.S. House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Peter DeFazio. He's in the middle bottom there of the Hollywood Squares, and you can see the other Georgian transportation folks here that was on this conversation with Chairman DeFazio, including Atlanta DOT Commissioner Josh Rowan and Jeff Parker over at MARTA, as well as Clyde Higgins from the Beltline. So it looks like you guys were having a fantastic time. Everybody's smiling when you're talking about transportation investment. That's what I think. So Stacy, congratulations for being on that. But not only was she on this virtual meeting, she had another virtual roundtable hosted by Georgia Representative Rhonda Burnell, and I hope I got her last name correct. Is that right? Burnell? Okay, Burnell. And again, to talk about sort of the outcome of this and transportation investment. So Stacy, thanks for representing the Fifth and representing the department, especially with the conversation with the Chairman DeFazio. As you heard from Josh Waller yesterday, the House has moved their bill. And so, the Senate still has to finish up their work, and then ultimately the two get together. So great job there, and it's always good when you can talk to the chairman of the House T&I committee. Never a bad thing. So congratulations. One of the things we pride ourselves here at the GDOT is being a professional organization. And as an engineer, the ultimate of that is achieving your professional engineer's licensure, which requires a simple, easy 8-hour test after you have sufficient work experience and educational background to be qualified to sit for the exam. So I'm super excited. This is one of the biggest crowds we've had of 15 employees that achieved their professional engineer's license. And we have John Blanchard that works in the design and policy support. We have Kevin Durth in GDOT District 2, Stephen Fry in roadway design, Matthew Frost in GDOT District 2, Iris Gorduck in the design policy and support, Austin Gray up in GDOT District 1, Gus Hightower, who works in roadway design, Crystal Eyes Powell, who works in traffic operations, Titus Johnson, who works in roadway design, Moshe Kinney, who works in GDOT District 4, Kevin Koo, who works in GDOT District 3, Ben Lemke in traffic operations, Jonathan Martinez, who works in District 5, Stephen Montgomery, who works in roadway design, and Randy Rhodes, who also works in District 5. So congratulations to them. What a great achievement and such a great number of adding to our ranks of being professional in what we do. So congratulations to them. That is no small feat, and very proud of each and every one of them. So in our continued pursuit of excellence, I always like to highlight when we receive a recognition, and who's not familiar with the Blinky Award? Blinky Award, that's not the Binky Award, but the Blinky Award, that comes from the Atlanta Bicycle Coalition. In all seriousness, a great partnership there, where we received the Innovation and Safety Award during the 2021 Blinky Awards hosted by the Atlanta Bicycle Coalition. Andrew Heath, and our state traffic engineer, and Sam Harris accepted the award on behalf of GDOT. Let me tell you what the Blinky Awards are about. It's really an annual celebration recognizing individuals or organizations that has impacted sustainable and active transportation in Atlanta. And we are the Department of Transportation, and so we have to think about all modes, especially active transportation. So I'm excited that they won this award from partnering with one of our partners, AECOM, to conduct a multimodal safety study here in Metro Atlanta. The study was conducted due to obviously a alarming number of increase in active transportation fatalities and injuries. And we wanted to focus on, infrastructures along the state routes that serve pedestrians and cyclists, as well as transit here in the in-town Atlanta here. The study really consisted of high-level analysis based on data of crash data, operational data, looking at the roadway characteristics of what the road's comprised of itself, and basically looking also at our existing transportation plans and how they may overlay on top of all of this data. Ultimately, the study helped us to develop a prioritized list for opportunity areas. Pardon? And so we basically able to prioritize priority areas for further development. And the first project that was programmed out of it was basically the road dot that's planned on State Route 8, also known as Donnelly Hollowell Parkway. So again, this is work we previously have done, and I think you're familiar about us moving forward with that project. Very important project just on the other side of the building here. The study basically was a collaborative effort between many team members, our TMC Safety Office, our TMC Signal Ops Office, our District 7 Traffic Operations Office, and Design Policy, and also Planning. So we integrate it all together. And just while I'm on this subject of active transportation, it is concerning because we've had 166 pedestrian deaths on Georgia's roadways to date. That's a 44% increase over last year. Now, that's terrible news. Sort of the better news is bike cyclist fatalities year to date are down 77% with only 3. But pedestrian fatalities are way up. And classification of pedestrian fatalities are somewhat challenging too. If you happen to be on the interstate, which happens a lot, and people get out of their car in an incident and they get struck, because they're out of their vehicle, that's a pedestrian. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Any life lost is tragic. So congratulations to our team for receiving this, and thanks to Atlanta Bicycle Coalition for the partnership we have with them and working with them on many of their initiatives and what they do for advocacy of safety for active transportation, especially bicyclists. So anyway, let me move on to some other good news, and that was that the U.S. Department of Transportation recently announced their intent to award over $905 million to 24 projects across the nation that resulted in 18 states winning the Infrastructure for Rebuilding America, which was formerly known as the INFRA program. These grants certainly will help to rebuild America's infrastructure and create jobs. And in this case, the winner was the Georgia Ports Authority at $46.8 million to construct a new inland port up in the Gainesville area, just right up 985, not far past where 95 ends, and it becomes State Route 365. This investment in the port certainly will boost the economy by creating jobs, reducing the freight travel times, and providing a direct freight link to the Port of Savannah. So if we can get those containers off the roads, that's always good for us and be more efficient and from a safety point of view and just helping us with overall mobility. So super excited about This partnership with the Georgia Ports Authority, Gainesville Hall County, and certainly GDOT has a commitment to partner, and Janine and planning will be partnering with Hall County as this project moves forward to help support some of the roadway improvements that will be serving this site as well. So congratulations, that's a great piece of infrastructure investment that only highlights the criticality of the Georgia Ports Authority and the linkage to freight movement in and out of, in and around Metro Atlanta. Wanted to update you on some new committees the governor created. Governor Kemp recently announced the creation of 3 bipartisan committees responsible for providing allocation recommendations for $4.8 billion that came through the American Rescue Plan. The 3 committees are made up of lawmakers and agency heads, and the 3 committees are Economic Impact Committee, Broadband Infrastructure Committee, and the Water and Sewer Infrastructure Committee. Very honored that the governor selected both Janine Miller and myself to serve on the Broadband Infrastructure Committee. We actually have our first call later today. In that full list, we can get that to you. I won't read all the names, but it is truly a bipartisan group that will look at these possibilities for distributing and exercising under the American Rescue Plan, these dollars that continue to help Georgia to have better broadband service across the state, especially in the unserved and underserved areas. Speaking of technology, let me talk just a little bit about a continued partnership that we have with the RAY, and that, if I remind you that partnership is with GDOT, Federal Highway, and the RAY over about an 18-mile stretch there in I-85 in West Georgia, and very excited that we're continuing to pursue and push innovation through connected vehicle technology. And I want to especially give a thanks to the RAY, to Allie Kelly and the team for working to engage Kia, who sits on the RAY, Kia Motors, and Hyundai America Technical Center have basically joined into the partnership with us collectively as the RAY to continue to expand the partnership we have with them using Panasonic to deploy connected vehicle technology and signals, traffic signals along this corridor. It certainly will provide, again, opportunity for optimization for emergency vehicles. And what we're really interested in and excited about is the freight component of that, the freight in and out of Kia Motors manufacturing. So great partnership. You heard a lot yesterday, and you hear us talk about P3s, public-private partnerships. This is actually what we call a P4. It's public-private philanthropic partnership. And it's hard for me to say that. That's a tongue twister. So we add the 4th part of philanthropy in there. So again, great partnership there, doing amazing things, and really sort of a very unique situation here in the nation of this relationship that we have among all 3 entities, and now bringing Kia and Hyundai into the table. Let me end with just a follow-up, again, a point of pride of how GDOT men and women always rise to the occasion and always committed to help their fellow Georgians. As you recall, last Wednesday, July 7th, Tropical Storm Elsa made landfall in Georgia, which it was a hurricane, but got downgraded as it came across. But doesn't matter how you downgrade it, it still brought a lot of heavy rain and strong winds, especially to District 5 in Camden County, which is right down on the Florida line. Caused a lot of damage. It spun up an EF2 tornado there in Camden County with winds up to 130 miles an hour. Also, much further away in Effingham County, there was an EF1 tornado as well. There was 50 homes damaged, about 17 injuries reported, as I understand. Our District 5 crews actually mobilized, not only District 5, but our other districts as well, 4 and 3, were already mobilized and ready, loaded up, ready to respond based on what the impact might be. But based on the size, District 5 was able to handle it. Immediately, they had about 15 trees blocking state routes. We had a sign on 516 up in Chatham County that got blown down. Nobody was hurt, and it wasn't in the roadway. And then we had several signals, obviously, on flash with power and debris and the like, and they responded immediately. They also delivered over 750 tarps for the county, so that helping GEMA to deploy tarps for people to cover their roofs. and have worked over the weekend. We had 41 crew members and had about the same amount of equipment out there, and they worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and as of Monday yesterday, hauled over 210 loads of debris off across the county. Now, this could have been a lot worse, but we're glad, again, to be able to serve, and you can sort of see those big live oaks that are pretty blown apart, as big as they are. But they did a great job there of responding, and I'm very proud of the dedication and commitment of our staff. So, Madam Chair, I'll be glad to entertain any questions or comments.
Mr. Boswell?
Well, I'm back a little bit, but that guy back over, does that impact the budget?
So that will be sort of to be determined. Our current budget is not impacted because the budget was already set. Those dollars are there. As a reminder that the collections of revenue in 1 year is what's used to fund the budget in the following year. So since this happened what is now last budget year, that's what we'll continue to have a conversation with the Office of Planning and Budget to see if that can be reconciled some way. Obviously, we think that despite that, traffic volumes are good, revenues continue to be good. The one thing I really didn't highlight was the transportation fees outpaced what we had projected, so that's a good sign as well, especially as it relates to the funding for the transportation fees. So this is going to be a stay tuned. We'll watch and see. We'll certainly work with them and planning and budget and keep you informed as we sort of see. And we need to see what the totality is too. We're not exactly sure that we've seen the totality of that impact just yet because of the lag from lag in collection and reporting. So we'll keep you in tune. But right now, no worries. No projects are in jeopardy or anything at the moment at this point. We are operating under our FY22 budget as appropriated and passed and signed by the governor.
Mr. Lewis?
Thank you. I want to go back to the employee numbers. You mentioned 3,500 and something, and it seems like the years I've been on the board, that number's been decreasing. It's not a criticism, that's just an observation based on the reports. But my question is, in an ideal situation, where would you like the number of employees to be for the department statewide for us to be at our maximum or our optimum?
Yeah, we need to be closer to 4,000.
Okay.
And so this number is about bottomed out. It should be coming back. It is a very competitive, hard climate, not only in GDOT, but everywhere of labor at the moment. And so I was very excited to see those 76 or so temporary maintenance employees again, because those are new entries into the job market here for us that will become full-time employees. And that's the way we sort of bring them in, give them some training, get their CDL, get them promoted, and so they have some career trajectory. But we need to be closer back to the 4,000 number. And I'm not sure if this month, but it's pretty close to the lowest it's ever been. But we're trying to pull that back up. Thank you for that very important question.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ms. Purcell?
I just want to say thank you for all the efforts and the information that's been provided by the commissioner today, but I also want to extend a very special thank you to District 5 and those that were on the point of readiness to help in regards to the tropical storm cleanup that we had, particularly down in Camden County. And just wanted to give a shout out of a great big thank you for all the efforts that went out there to get the folks back to some degree of normalcy. So thank you.
Well, thank you for your comments. Any other comments or questions? If not, thank you, Commissioner, for your report, and thank you for the hard work. Sometimes I think we forget that it goes around the clock. It's not just 9 to 5 or 6 to 7. I think it's not all just all day. It's all night too sometimes.
Well, Meg and Mike and Angela knows what I'm going to say. I said we just generally expect a half day of work. That's 12 hours.
Yes.
Thank you.
I can see that. At this time, I'd like to present a resolution, please. today. You can see we've got Mr. Mike Dover here, and I'd like to read a few comments in the form of a resolution. Professional engineer Michael Dover started his Georgia Department of Transportation career in 1989 as a civil engineering technologist in the Gainesville District Office. As a result of his outstanding leadership skills and commitment to innovative project delivery and process improvement, he quickly rose through the ranks until reaching his final post as Deputy Commissioner. Mike's leadership and dedication to the department enabled him to greatly impact the success of Georgia DOT over the course of his career. As a member of the Innovative Program Delivery Team, Mike implemented the department's Public-Private Initiative Program, now known as the P3 program, which fosters partnerships between the Georgia Department of Transportation and private companies, allowing the state to better allocate limited resources for transportation projects. He was responsible for managing express lane projects and tolling policy development, as well as the department's design-build program, while serving in various capacities in the Office of Innovative Delivery. As administrator for the Transportation Investment Act Project Delivery Program, Mike was instrumental in the successful implementation of the $1.5 billion program, resulting from a 1% sales tax program dedicated to transportation in 3 regions within the state, which ensured projects were completed using innovative delivery techniques and were delivered on time and within budget for the state's 3-tier regions. Mike was appointed to Deputy Commissioner in 2015, and for the last 6 years, he's worked closely with Commissioner McMurray in overseeing the operations and performance of the department. As Deputy Commissioner, he was responsible for leading the operations for all of Georgia DOT's 7 districts to ensure efficiency and effectiveness of all district activities, including day-to-day processes and providing guidance for emergency response efforts, as well as leading the operations for the divisions of local grants and field services and the offices of strategic communications, procurement, equipment management, facilities, and information technology. In addition, during his 6 years as Deputy Commissioner, he was responsible for advancing the development of emergency response procedures for GDOT that brought even more confidence in the department's response efforts to the citizens of the state. Mike is a Georgia registered professional engineer holding a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering Technology from Southern Polytechnic State University, as well as an associate's degree from Young Harris College. He's a member of the American Society of Highway Engineers and the Institute of Transportation Engineers. For more than 32 years, Mike Dover has committed his service and leadership to the state of Georgia and the Georgia Department of Transportation, and has been steadfast in his efforts to ensure the department continues to be one of the most competitive and top-performing DOTs in the nation. Therefore, be it resolved that the State Transportation Board recognizes Mike Dover for his hard work, dedication, and tremendous contributions made throughout his leadership, passion, and unwavering commitment to providing a transportation system focused on innovation, safety, sustainability, and mobility for the shipment of goods and services, and ultimately the citizens of Georgia. Be it further resolved, a copy of this resolution shall be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and a suitable copy be presented to Mike Dover in honor and recognition of his retirement from the Georgia Department of Transportation after more than 32 years of service. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? Do I have a second? All in favor? Mike, thank you. I'm honored to present this to Mike. He does not look nearly old enough to have been here over 32 years, and I think that he's got a lot of energy left. So I hope you find enjoyment in your retirement and have some fun.
Thank you.
So certainly with mixed emotions, I come for you today and at this point. So I never dreamed in 1989, 32 and a half years ago, that I'd be standing at this point right now in my career. So I certainly appreciate your confidence in me as a board and your support. And I appreciate the relationship with the board collectively that we've established over the years in the department, as well as the relationship with you all individually. So I'll treasure that forever. It's been support from you all that's made us so successful. And I do appreciate and thank Russell for his confidence in me to be Deputy Commissioner for 6 years, as he and I had talked about me and my departure. You know, every time we talk, this time goes by fast. So it does go by very quickly, and as you realize that as you get further along in your career and in your life too, that time goes by so quickly. So I certainly appreciate that relationship from him. Meg and Angela, we truly worked as a team. I appreciate their support, as well as our employees. You had heard one of the things that makes me proud is to hear, no matter what happens, no matter where it is, our employees are always ready to be able to respond, and that has really made us truly successful and one of the best departments in the nation. So I think we still have great things ahead of us as a department. Everybody who knows me, everybody in this department, everybody outside knows that GDOT has truly shaped me through my life and my career, and I'll always be grateful for that. I'm thankful for that. So I do have one story that I'll leave you all with. And I started in location survey in Clarksville. So I was here about 2 years, and we were attending a retirement luncheon for one of our employees, one of the employees in survey, and I'm sure it was Western Sizzling or something like that in Gainesville. And he said, when he was giving his retirement speech, and I've waited 30 years to use this line, so he said, "It hasn't always been fun, but I've enjoyed it." And that's exactly how I feel. So I certainly appreciate the honor, appreciate the support of our employees and our team and you all as a board. And I will always treasure my time here at the department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for your comments and your service. So at this time, though, we will move ahead. And Mr. Golden, do you have a report for the Legislative Committee?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. Would you like me to proceed?
Please do.
The Legislative Committee convened on July 14th at 1:31 p.m. Board members present included myself, Ann Purcell, Johnny Floyd, Greg Morris, Emily Dunn, Kevin Abel, Russ Carricker, Robert Brown, Jamie Boswell, Jeff Lewis, Dana Lemon, and Jerry Sharon. First order of business, Josh Waller, our Director of Policy and Government Affairs, provided an update regarding the appointed membership of the Georgia Commission on E-Commerce and Freight Infrastructure Funding. He also provided a federal update regarding the bipartisan infrastructure framework and the INVEST Act recently passed by the U.S. House. There being no further business, I've adjourned the committee meeting at 1:43 p.m., and that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. That was a good report. Mr. Brown, Equal Access Committee?
Yes, ma'am. The Equal Access Committee convened on July 14th, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Board members present included myself, Dana Lemon, Jeff Lewis, Jerry Sharon, Emily Dunn, Kevin Abel, Ann Purcell, Johnny Floyd, Russ Carricker, Tim Golden, Jamie Boswell, and Greg Morris. Our first order of business was Kimberly King, Director of EEO, presented an update of Dbe Goal attainment reporting and 3-year goal methodology submission to FHWA and FTA. The EEO office submits a semi-annual report to FHWA twice annually in June and December to offer a snapshot of commitments and awards to DBE firms within the reporting period. The 9% attainment reported in June 2021 represented $67,914,657 paid to DBE firms. Within that amount, DBEs received more than 30 prime contracts valued at $23,784,772. This number of prime contracts is nearly double the award made at the same time last year. In addition to these federal awards, DBEs are being engaged in a variety of our state-funded project activities and our MMIP. Every 3 years, the agency must submit an annual overall DBE goal. The goal is created from a specific formula that provides a clear and defensive equation to arrive at the goal. The equation considers the availability of the total number of DBE firms ready, willing, and able to participate on DOT-assisted contracts relative to all businesses ready, willing, and able to participate on DOT-assisted contracts. Once that number is determined, it is then modified by a step 2 adjustment based upon the past participation the agency has achieved in its DBE utilization. Those numbers form the basis for the overall agency goal. For the coming 3 years, that goal will be 15% for FHWA funded projects activity and 6.02% for FTA funded project activity. Committee actions, there being no further business, Chairman adjourned the meeting at 2:13 p.m. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Now, Mr. Boswell with Property Utilization Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Property Utilization Committee convened on July 14th, 2021 at 2:15 p.m. Board members present included myself, Jerry Sharon, Russ Carricker, Robert Brown, Dana Lemon, Greg Morris, Emily Dunn, Kevin Abel, Ann Purcell, Johnny Floyd, Tim Golan, Jeff Lewis, and Dana Lemon. John Hibbard, Director of Permits and Operations, presented his request to open the board rule concerning installation, relocation, and management of utilities on public right-of-way, Chapter 672-11. He clarified that this is the same rule that was opened at the June 2021 board meeting, and that he is asking that it be opened again in the interest of transparency and clarity, so that additional edits concerning electric membership corporations can be incorporated. This edit clarifies that EMCs, which already pay right-of-way use fees in their role as electric power utilities, will not be required to pay additional fees if they choose to install broadband infrastructure. The new comment period would end August 16th, 2021. Jerry Sharon made a motion to open the board rule 672-11 for the new comment period ending August 16th, 2021. Robert Brown seconded the motion and it passed unanimously. There being no further business, I adjourn the meeting at 2:31 p.m. This concludes my report. I now make a motion to the full board to open board rule 672-11 for the new comment period ending August 16th, 2021.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boswell. Okay, Mr. Golden, have you got another report for us?
Madam Chair, I sure do. The statewide Transportation Planning Strategic Planning Committee convened on July 14 at 2:32 p.m. Board members present included myself, Ann Purcell, who is chairperson, by the way, Johnny Floyd, Jeff Lewis, Russ Carricker, Emily Dunn, Kevin Abel, Robert Brown, Jamie Boswell, Greg Morris, Dana Lemon, and Jerry Sharon were all present. Only order of business, which was a very lengthy and a very good report, I might add, was by Kelly Gwynn, Branch Chief of the Division of Planning, presented an overview of the department's 2 new lump sum programs for rural development and freight operations. This new program supports the implementation of the governor's strategic goals and GDOT's statewide strategic transportation plan, known as SSTP. The program's goals are to implement quickly, support local regional areas, leverage the transportation network to accommodate growth while also enhancing safety and improving roadway operations. Kelly explained the project submission process that includes identification, time frame, process, and selection. There being no further business, as Vice Chair of the committee, I adjourned the meeting at 2:54 p.m., and this concludes my report, Madam Chair. And it was a very good report Kelly gave us.
It certainly was, and thank you for that report.
Thanks.
Okay, at this time, I do have a report myself for the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole convened on July 14th at 3:00 p.m. Board members present included myself, Abel, Purcell, Floyd, Carricker, Brown, Golden, Boswell, Lewis, Morris, Lemon, and Sharon. Our first order of business was Meg Perkle, our chief engineer, gave an update on the 400 express lanes procurement. She explained that this is an active and ongoing procurement, so she was unable to share sensitive information. She did discuss the State Route 400 express lanes project information that she could share, the procurement process, and the status and the next steps. There being no further business, I adjourn the meeting at 3:15 p.m. This concludes my report. Okay, I think that takes care of all of our reports. Do we have any new business for the board? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned.